Shabbat Shalom. We rise together. Page 103, Morning Blessings, Birchot HaShachar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan nosech v'bina להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בצלמו.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בת חורים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עברים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש עמים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף גבובים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע ארץ המים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המכין מצעדי גבר.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה לי כל צורכי.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזי צל מגבורה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליהם כוח.
אמן.
Page 122.
ברוך שאמר והיה עולם ברוך הוא.
ולמלך העולם רחמם יחיד חעולמים.
יחיד חעולמים מלך משובח ופועדי עד שמו הגדול. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל ותשבחו. So Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, friends. So as we prepare for Shavuot, which begins tonight, and we begin the book of Bamidbar, which we call in English the book of Numbers, but Bamidbar means literally in the wilderness. I was thinking this week about the connection between receiving Torah and moving through the wilderness. Of course, there are many, many connections, but Shavuot and the beginning of this book of the Torah always coincide with one another, at least pretty closely, within a week or two. And I was thinking that sometimes we have this false idea that, of course, the wilderness being a place of difficulty and of trial and tribulation, we have this false idea that when things come easily, that they're meant to be. And that when things are difficult, perhaps it's life saying to us, it's not meant to be. And I think one of the things that this coinciding of receiving Torah, this great gift of God's wisdom and the core of our tradition, and moving through the wilderness might offer us, is that sometimes when things are really difficult and we move through tough times, it's not that it's not meant to be, so to speak, but that we're not ready. That there's a period of preparation of that the wandering and that the trials and tribulations will help us discern and attain so that we are ready. And I think it invites us, perhaps, if we consider this idea, to be grateful to God when the things come easy and the blessings come in their obvious abundance and ease, but also to be grateful when the times are difficult, and perhaps that the wisdom to be discerned is just not yet, that there's more learning to do, that the struggling that we encounter is the preparation that we need to truly receive the gift that awaits us. So I hope that in our tefillah, this spirit of gratitude for the things that come with ease, and also gratitude for the waiting and the bumps in the road will permeate. So we begin our Psukei de Zimra, warming up our hearts and our voices with Shiviti, number 4 in the booklets in front of you. This invitation really to place God before us at all times. And this word that we use here, this permutation of the letters of Yud He Vav He, we say Havaya, is the name for God that is most closely associated with compassion and love. So I'll introduce the English as well. Shiviti Havaya Lenegdi Tamid. Shiviti Havaya Lenegdi Tamid. Havaya, Havaya, Havaya. Ava, Ava, Ava. Havaya, Havaya, Havaya. Ava, Ava, Ava. Shiviti Havaya Lenegdi Tamid. Shiviti Havaya Lenegdi Tamid. Havaya, Havaya, Havaya. Ava, Ava, Ava. Havaya, Havaya, Havaya. Ava, Ava, Ava. I'm praying for compassion to lead me at all times. I'm praying for compassion to lead me at all times. 15, Limnot Yamenu, as we approach and we sit in the 49th day of the Omer, having counted each day. It's a reminder to us to really remember that our days are numbered. None of us know that final number, but the challenge, the spiritual challenge, is to be aware that we have limited time here and to use each day for the highest purpose of our soul. Limnot Yameinu, Limnot Yameinu, Limnot Yameinu, Ken Hoda V'Navi Levav Chokma, Limnot Yameinu, Limnot Yameinu, Limnot Yameinu, Ken Hoda V'Navi Levav Chokma. Teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day. Number 16 from Psalm 59. Va'ani ashir uzecha. We sing of God's strength, our strength, and rejoice in the loving kindness that has been shown to us just by virtue of our waking up this morning. Va'ani ashiru zecha, va'arane laboker chasecha, ki hayita mizgav li umanos beyom sarli. Va'ani ashiru zecha, va'arane laboker chasecha, ki hayita mizgav li umanos beyom sarli. Uzi elecha azameira, azameira. Uzi elecha azameira, azameira. Va'ani ashiru zecha, va'arane laboker chasdecha, ki hayita mizgav li umanos beyom sarli. And as we arrive at this ending of the Omer, our tradition teaches us that we have planted enough seeds to know that things are going to grow. Right? So at the beginning of the Omer, we don't know. We don't know what the earth will provide for us. But as we reach this moment, we see that there is truly enough here and now. And we sense that in the coming weeks of harvesting that build towards Sukkot in the fall, that there will be enough abundance to sustain us. So we continue with number 18, Kosi Rivaya. My cup overflows, with that sense that truly there is not only enough, but more than enough to go around for all of us. Kosi Rivaya, Kosi Rivaya, Kosi Rivaya, Kosi
Kosi,
Kosi,
Revaya,
Kosi,
Revaya,
Revaya,
Kosi,
Kosi,
Revaya,
Kosi,
Revaya,
Revaya,
Kosi,
Kosi,
Revaya,
Kosi,
Revaya,
Revaya, Kosi,
Revaya,
Kosi,
Revaya.
Nishima Mukha, we take a deep breath. As we prepare for Nishmat Kol Chai, page 145, the breath, the soul breath of every living being offers its praise to God. Nishmat Kol Chai, Tevarech et Shimcha, Adonai Eloheinu. Nishmat Kol Chai, Tevarech et Shimcha, Adonai Eloheinu.
Bottom 146.
Mi yid melah u'mi shvela u'mi arogla El hagadol hagibor v'hanora El elyon Ol shamayim v'haaretz Na'aleh lecha neshabbechecha nfa'elcha nvarech et shem kodecha kamor LeDavid barchi nefshi Adonai v'chol rabbai Et shem kodsho
147.
Ha'el v'tatzma tuzecha Hagadol b'chvod shemecha Hagibor hanetzach v'hanora b'norotecha HaMelech HaYosher HaKisei v'nisa Befi Yesharim Titala Uvdivrei tzadikim Titbara Shochenan Maro V'nalo Shema Shochenan Maro V'nalo Shema לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, להקלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות. דוד בן ישי, עבדך
Please
משיחך.
rise.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו.
148, המלך הגדול הקדוש בשמיים. ברכות ומתן ביד עולם.
ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני המלך גדול ותשבחות אל הודות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך לעולמים יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה למה תברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ומכון ובחיית כל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ימרו אמן
ישמע הבא מברך לעולם עולם ועלמיה
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ותהלל שמי קודשה
בריחוה
מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמידן ועלמה וימרו אמן.
Page 149, we feel our back bowing, all the bones in our back for the Baruch call to worship.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
You may be seated 150.
We begin with the first blessing before Shema, in which we praise God for the earth and all of creation. Baruch atah
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uborech Moshe oseh shalom uboret hakol hakol yoducha והכל ישבוך והכל יאמרו אין קדוש כאדוני הכל ירומוך סלע יוצר הכל לבודה ורויון דדות שי מזרח ובכן כל מכל מריצחים נראה צו לבלים חמים דבו מחדש בורים פעמים מעשה בראשית המלך מעומם לבדו מאז משובע רבים מחסמים
ככה אדוני עונה בעולם הזה ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי עולם הבא אפס ביותך גודל מת המשיח ואין דמלך המשיענו לתחיית המתים
151
אל אדוני כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך לפיקון נשמה לא וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרחבה זהו ראשון לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאוד
יצרם בדל מן הסכם למזים וכמנוגה למזים בכל העולם. עושים ברצון לכל נער וכל לשמור.
נונים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש ליל השבת
152 מזבשים לשבת טוב להודות לאדוני לפניך אנחנו שנה אימות מרגיש טבק שגמר Top 153
כולם אהובים, כולם באורים, כולם גיבורים, לכולם עושים אימה וביראה. רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים בפיהם מקדושה ותורה, ושירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, וכולם מקבלים עליהם עוד מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונענים ברשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם לנחת רוח בשפה ורעה ובנעימה, קדוש העולם והעונים אומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 על הצבאות מלוך על הארץ כבודו, והאופנים והחיות הקודש פרש גדול, מנסים לעומת צרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו.
ברוך נימותך וקיים ושכר שובל מלחמות וצדקו מצמיח כי לעולם חסדו
אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
154 we gather at Tzitziot together. Shema Yisrael, Abba, B'Tananu, Orke Mekodi V'Dech B'Yava Ki Aboshut Ata
וכן אהבתנו לשמך קדוש עליו באמת, להודות לך וליחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. בכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם בניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, וילדותיו פה בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
לעבוד אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבכם ובכל נפשכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת,
ויציב נכון
וקיים שלום,
אמת.
ודור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים, וכיסו נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת.
על אבותינו דבר טוב וקיים לעולם ועד.
אמת שאתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו ואמותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו ואמותינו יוצרנו צור ישועתנו פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו אתה ומעולם.
מגיעים משים לכבוד עבדו מרום עולם בשלך משפטך אשרי איש ישמעך אותנו
תהילות לאל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך בנים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נוראתי לא תוסף אלה שירה חדשה שבחו גאולי לשמך שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל קומה עובדנו בך יהודה וישראל צור ישראל קומה גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש 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 ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני God Israel.
So have our feet together and face the ark towards Yerushalayim. 159 to 161 together. The rest is done silently, a chance for us to explore our inner midbar, our inner wilderness, and offer that as a prayer. So 159 to 161, the rest is done silent.
Adonai sefatati ufiyaki tinatecha baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka אלוהי רחם אלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר יחסי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור נעלם אדוני מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך.
מלך
ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום. כתוב היה נביאך לכאן הזה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 צבאות מלך הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מנסים לעומת סרבים לעומתם. ברוך יאמרו ברוך ממקומך מלכנו תביע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לה. מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתקדם ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור ונצח נצחים. ועינינו תראינה מלכותך כדבר אמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד קודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהים מפיל ומשלם ועד כי על מלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני הקדוש.
Shalem 167.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח יהודי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון ומכון, ובחיי תכל בית ישראל, בגלה וזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, להר המולל והוויה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם מן הזה, ויתהדר ויתעלף תלל שמי קודשה בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, אמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותה תהון דכל ישראל, קדם אבהוני בשמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרב מן שמיה, וחיים לנו בכל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומה, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. אין כמוך אלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אב הרחמים, היטיב עד את צונך, את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי לך לבד מתנו, מלך ארם ונישא, אדון עולמים. ויהי בנשוא אהרון, ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני, ויפוצו אויביך, וינוסו משנאיך מפניך. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
אחד אלוהינו גדול, אדוננו קדוש שמו.
אחד אלוהינו גדול, אדוננו קדוש שמו.
גדול אדוני איתי, ולרומם שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד. כי חום השמיים ובארץ, כי חום השמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה וימין נעשה בכל ארץ. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד. כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה והימין הזה, לכל ערון. רוממות אלוהינו והשתחוות על רגליו קדוש הוא. רוממות אלוהינו והשתחוות על קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועכו ישראל, ועכו יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יאללה לה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה.
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm glad we braved the rainforest to get here, okay? Shabbat Shalom, perfect. We are in Parshat Bamidbar. We are almost at the holiday of Shavuot tonight. We received Torah. The giving of the Torah is celebrated and happened in the desert, which is the name of our Parsha. So we're on chapter 3, verse 14, page 779. Bamidbar deals with our wandering in the desert, but as Rabbi Jenny noted recently, also deals with a census and taking of census of our people as we prepare to enter the promised land. So we invite for our first aliyah, so verse 14, page 779. Vayazor v'gim v'shirosim bo v'namar amen. Hakol havu godel le'eloheinu kavod la'torah. Yamod Chaim Shlomo ben Gedali v'shendel. L'aliyah rishona Baruch shatan to'al mo'is v'shato. V'atemat v'kim Adonai Elohechem chaymohem hayom.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'achar banu mikol hamim v'nasan lanu es toraso. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'daber Adonai el Moshe במדבר סיני לאמור, פקוד את בני לוי, לבית אבותם למשפחותם, כל זכר מבין חודש ומעלה תפקדם. ויפקוד אותם משה על פי אדוני, כאשר צווה, ויהיו אלה בני לוי בשמותם. גרשון וקהת ומררי, ואלה שמות בני גרשון למשפחותם לבני ושמעי. ובני קהת למשפחותם עמרם ויצהר חברון ועוזיאל. ובני מררי למשפחותם מחלי ומושי אלה הם משפחות הלוי לבית אבותם.
שכוח.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen. Shkoyach. Tamod. Devorah Miriam bat Shimon Naftali v'tzvia l'aliyah shenit, verse 21, page 779.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Legershon mishpachat halivni umishpachat hashimi elehe mishpachot hagershuni pekudahem b'mispar kol zachar mi ben chodesh v'mala pekudehem shivat alafim v'chamesh meod mishpachot hagershuni acharei hamishkan yachanu yama Unasivet av lagershuni El Yasef ben Lael Umishmarat b'nei Gershon ba'ohel moed hamishkan v'yaohel michsehu umasach petach ohel moed v'kalei hechatzer v'yet masaf Petach hechatzer asher al hamishkan v'al hamizbeach saviv ve'et meitarav lechol avodado.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam natan b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Shekach, Deborah. Kol hakavod. It's verse 27, for the third Aliyah, page 780. Tzamod, Shaon Aliyah bat Moshe Micha v'Shoshana. Aliyah Shlishit.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. V'lekat mishpachat ha'amrari u'mishpachat hayitzari u'mishpachat ha'hevroni u'mishpachat ha'ozieli elehem mishpachot ha'kehati v'mispor kol zachar mi ben hodesh v'mala shmonat alafim b'sheish mehot shomrei mishmeret ha'kodesh mishpachot HaKodesh Mishpachot B'nei Kehat Yachanu Yerech HaMishkan Teimana Unsivetav L'Mishpachot HaKehati Elitzafan Ben Uziel U'Mishmartam Ha'aron V'Hashulchan V'Menorah V'Hamizbechot Uchlei HaKodesh Asher Yishartu Bahem B'Hamasach B'Chol Avodato Unsi Nesiei HaLevi Elazar Ben Aharon HaKohen Pekudat Shomrei Mishmeret HaKodesh Limrari Mishpachat Hamachli Mishpachat Hamoshi Elehe Mishpachot Merari Uvkudehem B'mispar Kol Zachar Mi Ben Hodesh V'Mala Sheish Alafim U'Matayim Unsi Vetav L'Mishpachot Merari Zuriel Ben Avichayil Yerech HaMishkan Yachanu Tzafona Uvkutat Mishmeret B'nei Merari Karshei HaMishkan Uvrichav Hamudav Adanav B'chol Kelav B'chol Avodato Be'amudei Hatzer Safi V'adneihem V'tedotam U'metreihem V'hachonim Lifnei HaMishkan Kedma lifnei ohel moed mizracha, Moshe v'Aharon uvanav shomrim, Mishmeret hamikdash l'mishmeret b'nei Yisrael v'hazor hakarev yumat. Kol pikudei halvim asher pakad Moshe v'Aharon al pi Adonai l'mishpachotam kol zachar mi ben hodesh v'mala shanayim v'esrim
Aleph.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkochech, kol hakavod. So now our fourth aliyah, verse 40, page 781. As our honoree comes forward, I invite all to please rise. We'll offer a prayer for healing. Just a moment. Yamod. What's your Hebrew name, sir? Shmuel ben Moshe Laliyah HaRevi'it. As I pause in the midst of this prayer, I invite you to offer the names you are holding in your heart or in need of healing, mind, body, and neshama, soul. Misheberach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov V'imotenu Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarech v'rapeh et achunim. הקדוש ברוך הוא מרחמים עליהם, להחזיקם רפאותם, וישלח להם רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, בתור שאר החולים, חזק ידידי העוסקים בצורכיהם, שבת ימזוג, רפואה קרובה לבוא השתה בגלה בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all those we pray for. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them spiritual and physical well-being, together with all others who are ill. And may God grant strength to those who tend to them. The Shabbat is a time to refrain from crying out. We yet hope and pray that healing is at hand, and let us say together, Amen. El na revana la, El na revana la, El na revana la, refuah shelema. El na revana la, El na revana la, El na revana la, refuah shelema. You may be seated. It's our fourth aliyah, verse 40, 781. Find your spot.
Baruch es Adonai hambaroch.
Baruch Nevarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hambaroch leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabonu mikol hamim v'nosan lanu es Torah so Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Pekod Kol Zachar Kol Kol Bachar Zachar Livnei Yisrael Mi Ben Chodesh V'Mala V'sa Et Mispar Shmotam V'Lakachta Et Halivim Li Ani Adonai Tachat Kol Bachar Bivnei Bechor Bivnei Yisrael V'et Behemat Halivim Tachat Kol Bechor Behemat B'nei Yisrael Vayikod Moshe Ka'asher Tzor Adonai Tziva Adonai Oto Et Kol Bechor Bivnei Yisrael Vayehi Kol Bechor Zachar B'mispar Shemot Mi Ben Chodesh V'Mala Livkudahem Shnayim V'Yisrim Elef Shlosha V'Shivim U'Matayim.
speech up there.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nosan lanu taras emes v'chayei olam natah b'sochenu Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen. Shekoach. We're putting on the spot. What's your name, sir?
Stanley Schweiger.
Stanley Schweiger. Oh, you're Stanley Schweiger. Okay, oh, so what?
This is my daughter-in-law.
I'm aware. All right, that's Shekoach.
Good
I'm
timing.
like thinking, I don't recognize you that well. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. You're part of the
for
Mishpacha,
your
but you're
labor.
from up north. I know. It's okay. All right.
That's correct.
Great to have you here. Nachas. Well, careful. Okay, we don't want you getting hurt here in the bima. All right. Now for a special aliyah, our fifth aliyah, verse 44, page 782. Yamdu David ben Liron v'Tamar v'Sharon bat Chaim u'Dvora aliyah chamishit. Insurance for reading, so nice.
Yes. God, I am rusty. Baruch Adonai Borach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Borach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Vaydaber Adonai Moshe lemor, kach et havim, tachat kol bechor bivnei Yisrael, ve'behemat havim tachat behem tam, v'hayu li havim b'nei Yisrael. Make sure I'm on the right line. Okay, good. Now, ani Adonai, ve'eh piduye hashlosha v'hashvi'im v'hamatayim, Odafim al halvim ibachor b'nei Yisrael, Lakachta chameshet shekalim hagulgolet, B'shekel hakodesh tikach esrim gerah hashakel, V'natata hakesef laharon uvanav, Piduyeh odafim bahem, V'yikach Moshe et kesef hapidyom, Me'et haodafim, Al piduyeh havim, Nei bechor b'nei Yisrael akach et hakasef chamisha v'shishim v'shalosh meot ve'elef b'shekel hakodesh v'yitein Moshe et kesef hapiduyim laharon uvanav al pi Adonai kasher tziv Adonai
et Moshe.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Okay, we invite all to please rise. We give a special bracha to the 25-year people here. We got another special occasion here. The Mills. Mazel tov. We're so happy for you guys. It's amazing to celebrate their 25th anniversary. Is it late today? Wednesday. It was this past Wednesday. 25 years, thank God. I actually think I remember that you guys met like at a Jewish singles thing or something. No, nothing here. Dating service. But I remember you hung out with Gail. That was it. Yeah, I remember that's right. I've heard that many, many times because maybe you were together like in the area. That's what I remember. Okay. Before J-Date in the Pride of Tabor City. You know, exactly. It was amazing. Sharon, there's so many different things we could talk about here in terms of this Parsha Bamidbar, upcoming Shavuot. Shavuot's like a wedding between God and the Jewish people, giving the Torah. There's also wandering in the desert. Moses was not alone. He had Aaron. He had his own family connected. No one goes by themselves. But I really wanted to say, like the Parsha Bamidbar in the wilderness or in the desert, right, is that we're wandering towards this promised land. And, you know, the beautiful message, there's so many beautiful messages, but one that I really feel connected to you is that you all really understand that, you know, life is a journey. Life is an absolute journey. And it's a journey, at times it's a beautiful wilderness in the beautiful sense of the word. There's gorgeous trees, and there's fruit, and there's this, and there's gorgeous views. And it's also, sometimes it's a desert, you know, sometimes it's a desert. There's times of dryness, and it's also beautiful at times, but it's challenging, right? But the message you all have for each other is that you found each other, and that through the wilderness and through the desert, you're doing it together, and you're holding each other together. You are so connected here to our congregation. You're so connected to the community, to making differences in your work and your profession. You've influenced so many students, both of you, with your voices and your souls, serving the community. And you both know what it means, though, not to do it alone, to have the blessing of doing it with a partner, to walk that journey together, and to honor that journey together. towards the promised land you guys have created. Two adorable, big guys. Sorry, big kids now. Big, successful guys. Men at this point. I remember when they were a little shorter and successful, and holding on to your wolf pack pride and everything, and but able to really succeed in life and really make a way together. But the success ultimately is judged by your love for each other and building to each other together. Thank God. So we celebrate this together. Invite everyone to close their eyes, offer a prayer for the Mills on their 25th anniversary. We'll offer them a bracha.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always look upon you and grant you peace.
Shalom.
Amen. Simin tov,
Mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu, 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 Olego Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, Olego Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, Olego Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, Olego Yisrael.
All right, maybe see this. See the success of a dating service. There we go. Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, guys. All right. Love it. Okay. Tov. We continue now with our 6th Aliyah, verse 1, page 782. Oh, here's our graduate. Tamod. No. Bluma Rivka Bat Yochanan Shalom V'Yodit Naomi Aliyah HaShishit. So verse 1, page 782.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'tov.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe vel Aharon lemur naso et rosh b'nei Kahat mitoch b'nei Levi lemishpachotam levet avotam mi ben shaloshim shana v'mala v'ad ben hamishim shana kol ba'alat tzava la'asot malacha ba'ohel moed. Zot avodat b'nei Kahat ba'ohel moed kodesh hakadashim uva Aharon v'anav binso ha'mahaneh v'horidu et parochet hamasach v'chisuva et Aron ha'edut v'natnu alav kasu or tachash Ufarsu beged kolil techelet milmala b'samu badav va'al shulchan hapanim Yifrasu beged techelet v'natnu alav et hakarot v'et hakapot v'et hamakiyot v'et kusot hanasech V'lechem hatamid alav yeh, ufarsu alehem, beged tolat shani, v'chisu oto, b'michse or tachash, v'samu et badav,
V'lakhu beged techelet v'chisu et menorat ha'ma'or v'et neiroteha v'et malkachecha v'et machtotecha v'et kol kalei shamnaha asher yishartu la bahem v'natnu otav et kol keleha el miksei or tachash v'natnu al hamod.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam notah b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai notenu Torah.
Amen. Shekach Mashiach. Good to see you. Mazel tov. Mazel tov to you. So, our 7th Aliyah, verse 11, page 784. Yamod Shimon mi beit David HaKohen v'tzipora l'Aliyah Shvi'it. We might need to bring back Barbara. Let's see. What was the last thing she thought she did?
I know it's
Al-Hamot. Nachon? Yeah, exactly. You're right. There. So, okay. Thank you, Barbara.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Va'amein va'al mizbah hazahav yipusu beged tehelet vahisu oto b'mikse or tahash vasmu et badav v'lakahu et kol kalei hasharet asher yishartu bam ba'kodesh v'natnu el beged tehelet Vakisu otam b'mikse or tahash, v'natnu al hamot, v'dishnu et hamizbeah, ufresu alav beged argaman, v'natnu alav et kol kelav asher yishartu alav bahem et hamahot et hamizlagot v'het ayaim v'het hamizrakot Kol kalei hamizbeah, uversu alav kesui, or tahash v'samu badav, v'hila aaron uvernav, lahasot et hakodesh, ve'et kol kalei hakodesh bin soa hamahaneh, v'hahare kain yiba'u, b'nei kahat lasot, v'lo yiga'u el hakodesh, v'meitu elah, masa'a b'nei kahat bo'el moed, Ufkudat Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen, Shemin HaMaor, Ukteret HaSamim, Uminhot HaTamid, V'Shemin HaMisha Pukudat, Kol HaMishkan, V'Kol HaShevo, V'Kodesh Ufhelav, V'Yidaber Adonai El Moshe V'Aharon Lemor, Al Takritu et Shivat Mishpahot, Shevet Mishpahot hakati mito kalviim v'zo tasu lahem v'hayu v'lo yamutu v'gashtam et kodesh hakadashim aharonu v'anav yiva'u v'samu otam ish al avodato v'al masa'o v'el masa'o v'lo yavo lirot Kabbalah et HaKodesh.
V'ameitu. Shekoach, Hallie. Kol hakavod. Not easy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shekoyach, we rise together. Yit gadal v'yit gadash shmer Rabba, v'yamad v'achirutei v'amnich malchutei v'ayeron ov yamechon ov chayro v'et Yisrael v'gala ובזמן גריב ימרו, אמן. ישמר רבה ובורא, לעולם ועלמיה יתברך, וישתבח, ויתבר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל. שמרו רשע, ברכו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ועלמה וימרוה. Amen. You may be seated. Our Maftir Aliyah, verse 17, page 785. Yamod. Baruch ben Yitzchak Halevi LaMaftir, verse 17.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch HaMevorach Leolam
Baruch
Va'ed.
HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe v'Yaharon lemor. Al takritu et shevet mishpahot hakati mitok halviim v'zot asu lahem v'hayu v'lo yamutu v'gashtam et kodesh hakadashim aharonu banav yava'u v'samu otam ishish al avodato v'el masa'ot v'lo yava'u lirot kavala et hakodesh
V'ametu. Shkoyach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shikoyach, we rise together, lift and dress the Sefer Torah. Yamod. Shlomo. Yisrael Mitzrayah. Ken. Yisrael ben Hilav Roshul Rivka. Hamagbiat Amot. What's your name? Yehudit. Naomi Bat Basara. Bar Basara Golelet Vezot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Vivnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai Yad Moshe Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah Odevar Adonai Give it Zion, give it Zion, give it Zion, Tetzei Torah. Give it Zion, Tetzei Torah. Odevar Adonai. Give it Zion, give it Zion, give it Zion, Tetzei Torah. Odevar Adonai, Yerushalayim. Odvar Adonai Merushalayim. May be seated, everyone. Haftarah, page 787 from the prophet Hosea.
So as the rabbi said earlier, that Shavuot is seen in sort of a way of a marriage between God and the Jewish people in Hosea. It's sort of the opposite, not necessarily a divorce, but where the Jewish people are seen as a unfaithful wife. However, there's a lot of poetry in this Haftorah reading, a lot of beautiful language, and as Israel has throughout history kind of gone astray, it always comes back to its faithful place and redemption and teshuvah is always available. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet, Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah, Moshe avdo Yisrael amo, uvinviei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'haya mispar b'nei Yisrael chechol hayam, asher lo yamad v'lo yisaper. V'haya mikkom asher ye'amer lahem, lo ami atem, ye'amer lahem b'nei el chai, v'nikbetzu b'nei Yehuda u'b'nei Yisrael yachdav, v'samu lahem rosh echad, ve'alu min haaretz, ki gadol yom Zimre'el, Imru, La'ahechem I'ami, Ve'lahatechem Ruchama, Rivu, Ve'imchem Rivu, Ki lo ishti, Ve'anochi lo isha, V'taser v'nuneha mipaneha v'na'afufeha mibein shadeha ben afshiteha aruma v'hi tzagtiha keyom Hivalda visam tihaka midbar vishatiha ke'eretzia ve'amitiha batsama ve'et baneha lo Arechem ki v'nei zenuni hema ki zaneta ima hovisha horatam ki ama amera elecha acharei me'ahava Notenei lachmi umema samri ufishti amni visakuyai lachen hineni sach et darchecha basirim vegarti et gedera untivo teha lo timsa veridefa et me'ahaveha velo tasigotam uvik shatam velo timsa ve'amera alecha ve'ashuva el ishti harishon ki tov li az me'ata ve'hi lo yida'a ki anochi tatati la hadagan ve'hatirosh ve'hayitzhar ve'chesev here beiti lach v'zahav Ashub Labaal. Lachen ashuv velakachti degani beito vetiroshi bimoado vehitsalti tzamri ufishti lechasod et ervata Ve'ata agale et navluta le'enei me'ahaveha ve'ish lo yatsi lena miyadi ve'hishbati kol mitzosa haga hod shavishabata Vecho moada veha shimoti gafna ut einata asher amara etna hema li asher Natenu li me'ahava v'samtim layad ve'achalatam chayat hasadeh ufakadti aleha et yameha be'alim asher taktir lahem Vata'ad nizma vechil yata vatelech achare me'ahaveha veloti shachecha ne'um Adonai lachen hine anochi mefateha Vetolachtiha mebid hamidbar vedibarti al liba venatati la et kerameha misham ve'et emek achor lafetach tikva Ve'aneha shama kimeine ureha uchyom alota me'eretz Mitzrayim ve'haya vayom hahu ne'um Adonai tikrei ishi ve'lo tikrei li od bali Ahasiroti et shemot habe'alim mi pihal velo yizachru od bishma vecharati lahem berit bayom hahu im chayat Hasadeh ve'im of hashamayim veremes ha'adama ve'keset ve'cherev umilchama eshbor min haaretz ve'ish Kachtim lavetach ve'erasit ve'erastich li le'olam ve'erastich lo betzedek uv mishpat uv chesed Uvrachamim ve'erastich li be'emunah וידעת את אדוני. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודרבה אחד מדבריך, אחור לא ישוב ריקם, כי לא מלך נאמן ורחמן אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני,
בו שמו.
האל הנאמן בכל דבריו.
אמן.
רחם על ציון, כי היא בית חיינו, ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
בו שמו.
משמח ציון בבניה.
אמן.
סבחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך, במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו, על כיסו לא ישב זר ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
בו שמו.
מקדש השבת.
Amen. Kol hakavod to VJ Shikoyach. We now rise together to pray, return the Sefer Torah to the Ark. Invite those honored to do so. Come forward, page 183. We take a moment now to offer personal prayers for peace and shalom. Shalom in all places in the state of Israel, in the Middle East, here in our own country, in Jewish communities throughout the world, sadly suffering from anti-Semitism, other struggles. Just our local community. So a moment for a quiet time for each of us to close our eyes and offer prayers for peace and shalom in every location. Shalom, 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 shalom. Yallelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado, hodor eretz v'shamayim, vayareng le'amo, tila lecho hasidah, livnei Yisrael am gerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, mizmor leDavid. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod v'oz, havu l'Adonai kivod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai et adrat kodesh. Adonai Amayim, kavod yiriv, Adonai Amayim raviv. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaver Adonai et arzei halbanot. Vayikidem kamo egel, Lebanon b'Sirion, Gimel ben Remi. Kol Adonai chosr lahavot esh, Kol Adonai achil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai evol el ayalot. Vaychesof erod v'chalo, Kolo omer kavod. Adonai lama buliyashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Es chaimi le'mazikim ba, v'tomcheha meushar derachea darcheno Okay, Chevra, maybe seated, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, Orach. Good to see our regular Chevra and some new guests. We'll embarrass you later, make you introduce yourselves later. Mazel tov again to the Mills again. I have a Devar Torah I'm really looking forward to discussing with you. And I really want to call upon our psychologists. I'm looking at you, okay? And our educators, I'm looking at you. But, I mean, everyone can participate, okay? But I really want to get in there deep. Because this is like one of the most famous old, quote-unquote, pithy teachings from the Talmud. But it has so much richness and so much depth. I want to look at every single word and aspect of it. So, first of all, Shavuot, it's Torah time, so it's an opportunity to learn Torah. And it's about learning Torah, about how we receive the Torah and learn the Torah. And the parsha is called Bamidbar, and in the desert, we receive the Torah, of course. So it's all related. And there's a tradition during these longer Shabbatot, when it takes a long time for the sun to set, to actually study Pirkei Avot during the Shabbat afternoon. Pirkei Avot is the ethics of our sages, or the teachings, and they're usually very short teachings, Talmudic teachings, of what are kind of the wise sayings, or like the good mottos, slogans, what do you say, like when it's like, like the little quick morals, right? Ethics, all right, ethics is what's called, right? Ethics, all right, ethics of the Father. So little teachings. And there's this famous one about Ben Zoma. I want to make sure we get, we could read it quickly, but I don't. I want to read it slowly and see what is radical or what is remarkable about this rabbi, Jewish leader, teaching this particular teaching. So who'd like to read at the top there what Ben Zoma, one of the Tanaim, early rabbis, what did he teach about true wisdom? Who'd like to read that loud, nice and loud? All right, Janice Naomi Yehudit is going to pass around the microphone to our 25th anniversary man chair. Okay, there we go. Close enough. Okay.
Ben Zoma liked to say, "Who is wise? One who learns from all people, as it is said, I have learned from all my teachers."
Okay. So let's say, don't read it too quickly. It sounds so nice. Who's wise? Is it the one who's the smartest at Torah learning? Is it the one that founded Google? Is it the one that started? No. Who learns from all people. I want to read this. And look, it says the quote from the verse is, I have learned from all my teachers. So I want to just not too quickly. What can we derive from this that is remarkable? Yeah, and he said, well, it's nice. He says, learn from everybody. Okay. What's underneath that? Look at all of the words. I learned from all of my teachers. And by the way, I learned from all my teachers. What does it say? Vakasha, Robin. Or is Jan's going to run? Okay, Janice, get your running shoes on. Robin's over here.
Oh,
okay, all right. Well, it's also for people on we've got complaints people can't hear in the... Yeah. What do you call? Streaming. I have no language say. Streaming. Streaming. All right. It's almost Shavuos. What do you expect? All right. Go ahead.
Well, for me, sometimes it's not a pleasant encounter or experience or struggle in life.
Exactly.
And you have to look at it, well, this is a teaching moment for myself.
A teaching moment, Yefeh. All my teachers doesn't mean necessarily my favorite teacher, my best teacher, the one, the teacher that I think is like, it's all of the teachers. Are you fit? All right, we got Shlomo Moshe. Bakasha.
Why did they have to write this redundancy here? The first part would have been sufficient because it says all people. You didn't have to say all my teachers.
Yes. So the teachers is the verse. So yeah, that's a perfect Talmudic question. Do you have an answer to that, Saul, or just raising a question? Okay.
It's a question.
Clearly, Saul is wise. Well, I don't want to answer yet. I think it's a great point. Is all people and all teachers the same thing? Yes. Okay, Mora Ellen over here. Vakasha. Maybe we should group them together for you, Janice. Like, let people answer in one section, one at a time. Okay. Or maybe we'll get Michelle over here to run for her. Help your mom out. Honor your mother, Michelle. Okay. All right, what do you think? Are all teachers and all people the same?
No.
Okay.
Because one can learn from one's students as much as from one's teachers.
Yes.
And I think the educators can say that as a particularly true statement.
Right.
Because if you're a teacher, your students can teach you sometimes as much as you teach your students.
You're fair.
And that is a difference. So I think really your teachers can be anybody.
Right.
Um,
So then you're saying all people can be all your teachers.
Teacher, I guess so. Yeah. I guess I really
Very
am saying
Talmudic
that.
discussion here. Okay.
Yeah. So,
all people
I mean,
can be, but you're emphasizing the student's piece.
Well, I mean, you can learn from absolutely anybody.
Right.
So a teacher, I mean, it's not the generic definition, the dictionary definition of a teacher. I mean, a teacher is anybody who teaches you. So that can be your neighbor. It
Right.
can be your child. It can
Yes.
be anybody. If you put
So
on
it-
your learning hat and keep it on all the
So I
time.
just want to be clear. So all people, you're agreeing, but just be clear. If your intention is not to be a teacher, let's say I'm just interacting with you. I'm not intending to be a teacher. I'm not saying I'm here to teach you something. You're still saying, well, you can still teach something. You're still teaching. Or, as Saul was pointing out, do you have to actually have the intention with a lesson plan? Okay, right. This is an interesting question that Saul's kind of raising between people and teachers and the issue of all. Is it true that all people, really are our teachers? All right, we got the educators out here. Let's go. I want to give Carlin, Deborah, Jessica, because I know Carlin's been a teacher for several of our children. Okay, let's see what's going on. Carl, what do you say?
Just a thought. I wonder if it's not that all people are teachers, but it's just all people are learners, and that we learn from everyone. And it's not that we're wearing a learning hat or a teaching hat. It's we all can learn from each other, not we all can teach others.
Right. Well, I want to say that. But if you're a learner, I'm just pushing you a little back Talmudically. If you're willing to be a learner, then essentially you're looking at every person as a potential. Yes. So, okay. But you're emphasizing the fact, though, which I think is a nice point. A teacher requires, technically, to effectively teach, you have to have someone that's willing to be interested in actually gaining, in whether the formal or informal way, from what you want to say. No? Jessica disagrees. All right. You agree? They're against me. Beit Shammai over here. All right, let's hear it. Go ahead.
Okay,
Jessica.
I'm standing behind a pillar. So I hope. It's got to get closer. I'm going to hold it like a rapper, like right here. So, and I hope that I'm not.
So Carlin's teacher at the Learner School in Durham, everybody. Okay.
I think that the idea is not that everyone is teachers. The idea is that everyone can learn from everyone else.
Yes.
So it's not about, if I'm having an interaction, or not even an interaction, if I see someone doing something in the supermarket that I think is very kind, that person did not mean to teach me,
right.
but I learned from them. That, I think, is where the distinction.
Okay.
And
so
Carlin says yes, so we're on the same page.
But I think it's right. The person has to be open to wanting to learn, or at least open to seeing a learning opportunity, right? Or they're blocking themselves off from it, in a sense. I think it's powerful. Like a teacher, right? I have teachers, and I know that's why I have reference for teachers. My parents were teachers, right? Is that a teacher's not just teaching when they're teaching a lesson plan. Like they're teaching the way they interact with the students. They're teaching the way they interact with the teachers. They're teaching in the way they even conduct other things, right? Like you said, in a supermarket, you can teach through your behavior, even if it's not the most intentional teaching, so to speak.
I'm looking at it from the perspective of the recipient.
Right, so learning. Sorry, you can learn from everyone if you're willing to learn from all circumstances. You're fit. Okay. Devorah in the back there, the consummate teacher.
I actually want to suggest that the day that you stop learning from your students is the day you stop being a teacher.
Wow.
Because if we go into any space assuming that we know everything, we have to give and they have to receive, then we've actually stopped giving and they've stopped receiving. So every day, a teacher with that title,
Yes.
because I agree, I think we all learn from everyone, but that teacher with that title, the day that they walk into a classroom assuming that they have everything to tell and their students should just sit there and receive is the day they actually stop being teachers.
Wow, powerful. Basically, she's saying it's like a flow cycle, essentially. I'm going to wait for Kathy to come here. Kathy, I'm not putting her in a spot yet. All right, she's holding off. All right. I want to say that another thing that I think is being brought up here is that it's saying who is wise. I feel like I could say, as a half step, someone who continues to be curious. Someone who's open to, that curiosity is a step in wanting to be a learner. That to be a learner means you have to be willing to look at the world as a place that I have something to learn from. I still have something to gain from that world. You fit. Okay, let's go to Risa. Come on.
Risa.
Thank you. I think that, unfortunately, the things we learn from the most are the most traumatic experiences, because when everything's all nice and yes, you learn from someone giving and la-di-da, actually, the things that we remember, unfortunately, and the things that rock us to our core are the deepest learning experiences. And I don't know if you know this, but I was a teacher too, but I taught special ed children that had been incarcerated, young people, you know, and that have been through the absolute worst. And, you know, I hate to bring up the dark side of life, but unfortunately, it's a big learner. It's a big teacher.
It's powerful. It's very, very powerful. Okay, let's go around here. Even the accountant can come in here. Okay. Harvey next. Can't do just these. Yes, come. Harvey, yep, we'll go up right here. Yes.
We're trying to answer who is wise. And what we have here, when I go to the second thing, it says, I have learned, past tense.
Okay.
Okay? But one who learns from all people. And I think that there's, in the change in the tense, I think, is important. And that teaching, or I have 5 degrees, you know, and I'm working on my 6th PhD, isn't as important as, you know, and I've gotten this knowledge from my teachers, but it's not as important as to continually learn.
So then how do you see oh, one from learns from all people means they're continuing. I have learned sounds too past tense, passive. Got it. So one continuously learns from all people. By the way, I just wanted to emphasize, no one said here yet, this is a rabbi who says all people. He doesn't say from only rabbis or only rabbis named Solomon. He says, okay, all humanity. Very universal read on this nice text. Very nice, by the way. I like that. Okay, go ahead here to our New Yorkers.
The wisest people I've seen draw insights from looking, they could watch 2 5-year-olds playing. And they learn from that and draw insights that they can relate to others.
Yes.
So they absolutely can learn from everyone, from nature.
Yes. And I think it's the very nice points he's making here, by the way. What is wisdom, right? Wisdom is a slightly different term than might say intelligence, or, I mean, we could play, it's interesting. It's actually an interesting discussion. What's wisdom? Okay, wisdom can be derived from all kinds of places. Wisdom also might mean like life wisdom, like certain kind of common sense wisdom and intellectual wisdom, but it's not strictly intellectual stuff, right? It's not strictly like mathematics. It's like wisdom. You can learn that from a lot of things in life, from watching animals, from difficult things. People don't mean to teach us something. It's powerful. You fit. All right, we have more examples. Got Mitzala in the back. Mike, we'll go around. How about one more time? And Barbara over here, I see. Okay, you fit. Thank you, Janice.
My pleasure.
Getting a workout.
I think that the reason it tells us he learns from all people, and then he says he learned from his teachers, is we need to listen to all people because we don't know who the teachers are going to be. And to me, one of the sort of most unfortunate rules of life appears to me, I don't get who it is who's going to dispense to me the wisdom I need. Sometimes people I really, really don't like. And I've certainly been in a case where I remember very distinctly when there's a case where somebody who, every time they open their mouth, internally I rolled my eyeballs. You know, it's like gonna be more psychobabble and inner child and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, just get a job and pay the rent, sort of thing, you know. But in this person, something, every time they open their mouth, I was like, ugh. One time they told me exactly what I needed to know to get through a very tough weekend. So I think that's a hard lesson that we don't get to pick. We don't get to say, you're going to be my teacher, you're not going to be my teacher.
Yes.
I think the reason we need to learn from all people is we don't know. Yes. We don't get to choose. Yes. And I'd relate this back to, you know, one of the early verses in the Torah. It says we're all made in the image and likeness of God.
Yes.
And I think that maybe the wisdom that the lesson we can learn from somebody is because they're made in the image and likeness of God. And whether or not we like them, whether or not we agree with them politically, that doesn't determine, you know, we don't get to choose, which is annoying, because you'd like to say, I'm going to learn from this person, I can ignore this person.
That's right.
But maybe that person you're ignoring is the one that has that nugget you need precisely for this time in your life.
Absolutely. I think it's totally profound, totally true. You fit. There's someone else, Barbara here, Vakasha.
I think some of what we're saying is that, you know, being wise is not about accumulating information and bits of, you know, data. But it's a stance of openness to other people, right? That if we can be open to the possibility of learning something, then you're wiser than someone who thinks they know everything already.
Yes.
And also that often the most difficult people we encounter are our best teachers, kind of resonating with, you know, we all love the good stuff and hate the bad stuff, but the truth is we have to be open to everything that comes our way, and that is when you can reside in a space of being more connected to your own wisdom of, oh, everything here is an offering if I'm just open to it.
I think it's so profound from the psychologist. I'll say a couple quick things about that. I remember when I was in rabbinical school, and I had a classmate once, or of course a therapist who went to rabbinical school afterwards. And we were talking about something in class about some of the Torah dynamics of characters and their dynamics with each other. And this one particular woman was very talented, really bright, and she gave really deep psychological instincts to the dynamics between Abraham and Sarah and Isaac. And I was like, it's just whatever. I was 24. I was really buying into it so much. And one of the comments she said, and I'll never forget it, she says, because one thing she was describing was that when Abraham almost sacrifices his son Isaac, that Isaac, her response was, must have hated her father. And I was like, no, it doesn't mean he hates the father. I mean, maybe the father did something wrong. Wait, hate, it's strong. Use hate. If you love someone, she says, the people we love the most in our lives, we also hate just a little bit. I said, no way. What are you talking about? You don't hate people you love. You love them. You don't hate. She said, Eric, people you love. Think of someone you love. And I thought of like my parent. I don't know whoever at the time. She's like, if you lost them, if they died right now, wouldn't you like hate that feeling? Like that you like lost someone you love? Like, yeah. She's like, so in fact, when you love someone so much, it's a little bit of feeling that you're almost, it's a security, like you're vulnerable to losing them. So you may hate them, it's a strong word, but hate them because you're afraid of losing them. I said, oh, you go, wow. It like hit me like a brick on the head. I was like, wow. So you can really, I guess it's possible that within one relationship you can have both intense love and also like a little bit of, I'm annoyed, I'm angry, I'm even hate. And maybe the other way around. I despise that person, but why do I despise that person so much? Maybe there's something in them that I don't like that's really something I don't like inside of me. Telling Barbara something already knows. Wow, I was like, this was like revolutionary for me. So I say this to say, like, but the only way to be wise to that is if you take some time to really contemplate the people who are in front of you. And why is this person, that doesn't mean that everyone's going to be your best teacher per se, right? So there's teachers with better dynamics, but maybe possibly even the person that really annoys you the most is possibly a teacher more about who you are. I think it's very profound. All right, you fit. All right, who was Mike over here? Bakasha.
I noticed the last part is in quotes, and I noticed that Benzoma is essentially illustrating his idea that he learns that from others by saying that this is something that he learned from other people. Mm-hmm. That this is, as it is said, it is a common knowledge that the person who's wise learns from all people. It's not only his idea. It's that he's learned
it from everyone.
He's illustrating what he's talking about.
I see. He's illustrating. So he actually learned from all people this idea, you're saying, basically. Got it. You're fair. All right, any last comments before we wrap it up here? Okay, Vakasha, Rick, Vakasha.
Well, here goes. I've been thinking that in our conversation, trying to define or understand separately learning and teaching, we're making a false dichotomy because they are almost the same concept. They're sort of a duality. If a duality are two things that define each other and determine each other's existence, then you really can't have one without the other. As Deborah said, if you stop learning from your students, you're not a teacher. And if you're a teacher and you don't have students, you're not learning. And I suppose that wisdom exists inside of that. But we don't have, these aren't concepts that can exist independent of each other. So and they're not opposite sides of the same coin. They're a togetherness.
They're all interconnected. So Jenny's actually saying the same shoresh of Hebrew to teach and to learn is basically the same integration of both. Yafeh. So I'm just going to quote this from Rabbi Tamar Elad Appelbaum, wonderful rabbi who lives in Jerusalem. Her last 2 lines she writes in her commentary, and I invite you to read it later. She writes beautifully and has wonderful commentary. It says, his lessons at the Jewish individual's classroom is the entire world. And that we must therefore see in each and every person and we encounter in the world a potential teacher. And I just want to I'll just wrap by saying that my dad and my parents were public school teachers for basically most of their careers. My dad almost all of his career, my mom all her career. And similar to what Risa just said before, during the Vietnam War, my dad had a high draft card number, story he would tell, and that they would not draft you, or they would just lower your number, I guess. Some of you will correct me how I'm saying this, This is all the way I heard the story many times. If he was willing, he was a public school teacher at that time, but it was not enough just to be a public school teacher. If you did public school teaching of a very difficult assignment, then you were considered to be necessary or some kind of essential, and therefore you would. So my dad volunteered to do a more essential. I mean, he was already teaching not in a great public school, but he said, I'll be willing to do a more, and he was assigned like 4th grade of children who had gone through abuse and neglect. And he did it for 2 years. And he said that when he started this, he was 25 or 22, wherever he was, 23, and he felt as a kind of idealistic teacher, he could teach and learn from all. And he realized in this classroom where the students were so hurt and so, they've been abused, really. And they would therefore, many of them, not all, but some would abuse him. Some even would hit him or throw things at him. And he said, I had tremendous compassion. It's not like I was angry at them because they were young children. I mean, they don't even know what they're doing, okay? They don't even know what they're doing. They're just reacting to pain. But he realized that he couldn't do this in perpetuity. It was too much. And he, in a sense, learned that he had limits. He thought that he was, I think a young idealistic person feels like, I can give to the world and it's never ending. He realized, wow, if I keep doing this, I'm going to get hurt, not just on the outside by getting thrown chalk at him, which he said, but I'm going to get hurt on my neshama level. I won't be able to teach anymore. I have to watch myself. I'll burn out, essentially. I'll burn out. And he said what he learned the most from those 2 years was that he can't put himself in or you can, for limited times, you have to be aware that there are circumstances that that aren't healthy, and that you're putting yourself at risk. Spiritual risk, a social risk, emotional risk, and you need to pull yourself, and that the people that are doing that kind of work are a certain type of angelic people that, it's not meant for everyone. Not everyone can handle that level of work. So I put that out there to say, exactly, I remember thinking to myself, wow, from every situation there's a learning, not necessarily what happens in the job, but around the job, or through the people, or through the experience. And if we look at the world as like a place where we're constantly in a curiosity mode, a learning mode, what can I gain from this experience? Wow, God willing, we'll all be wise, like Ben Zoma says. Kol hakavod. I knew it would be a great conversation with you guys. Fantastic. We can pass our text over to the middle, be collected by some of our chevra. Rabbi Jenny, you want to lead them? Okay. And Rabbi Jenny will ask us to please rise on page 184, and we'll conclude with the Musaf davening.
יתקדש ויתקדש מרבה, ועמד יברח יריתי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון וחייכו בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמרה במברך, לעולם עולם העלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתבר ויתרומם וינעשה, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעלמין כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen.
So, everybody place our feet together and we face the ark, pages 185 to 187 together. The rest is done silently.
Adonai sifatay tivdachu fi akitei latecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל העליון, המלך חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים את עליו להושיע מוריד הטל מחכה חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו נשאלי עפר מי כמוך בגבורות ומידו מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני לחיי המתים
אמן.
נעריצך ונקדישך וסוציח שרפי קודש המקדישים שירה בקודש כך כתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך על הארץ כבודו כבודו מלא מלא עולם מלא עולם כבודו כבודו מלא מלא עולם מלא עולם כבודו כבודו מלא מלא עולם משרת השואלים שואלים זה לזה האם מקום כבודו משרת השואלים שואלים זה לזה האם מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבודו ממקומו ממקומו הוא ייבם ברחמים ויחונם המייחדים שמו ערב ובוקר וכל יום תמיד פעמיים ביחד שמע אומרים שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מכנו הוא מושיע והוא ישמיענו ורחמיו שני לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד קודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושפרך אלוהינו מפינו לשמי עולם ועד כי על מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, והעמד יברח ירותיו וימליך מלכותיו, בחייכון ובמכון, ובחיית כל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן גרי ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, להעלה מולד והמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ותהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבץ לו תרבותון תוך ישראל קדם אבהון ושמי ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרב משמיה וחיים עלינו בכל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו בכל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו amen.
204.
Let's do Eina Kelohenu, the Ladino version, which is in the far left side of the left page. Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kamoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Kelohenu, mi Adonenu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Kamoshienu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atau Eloheinu, Atau Adonenu, Atau Malkeinu, Atau Moshienu. Tú eres nuestro Dios, tú eres nuestro Señor, tú eres nuestro Rey, tú eres nuestro Salvador. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עזבנו כאויי ארצות ולא עזבנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל עמונה. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שמע שמע ויוסר עצמו שביכו בשמיים. אוקיי נקווה לך ונתקנו.
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונדמה והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו.
Seated. We turn to page 207. Invite those in mourning or observing a yard site, the Shabbat Bamidbar, to rise for Kaddish Yatom, mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shamei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei l'kudisha
b'richu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shamaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael yimru amen. Oseh shalom imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael yimru amen. Maybe see everyone. Shabbat shalom. Invite Janice to come forward. Offer announcements.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
My name is Janice Zaremba, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Most announcements are in the Shabbat Bulletin, which is available in the lobby, but I'd like to highlight the following items. Everyone is invited to participate in to purchase the conservative movement's new high holiday machzorim. Our goal is to have over 700 new machzorim by the fall of 2020. Forms are in the lobby, or you can order them online. Our summer book club is ongoing. Social Action is sponsoring a letter writing event on June 30th. Our Shavuot celebration begins Saturday evening at 7:30 and then continues Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and Monday at 9:30 a.m. Yizkor will be at approximately 10:15 Monday morning. For those of you who do not know, Beth Meyer has 2 weekly minyan services, Wednesday evening at 7 and Sunday morning at 9, as well as, pardon? Not tomorrow, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's correct.
Thank you for listening very carefully. Yes, we all learned something. As a friendly reminder, it is Beth Meyer's custom to avoid the use of electronics, including cell phones, cameras, tablets, anywhere on the Beth Meyer campus during Shabbat. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guests today, and I would also like to thank all of those who participated in our service this morning, especially our Torah readings. Before you go, kindly return your siddur and chumash to their original spot, and please put the bulletins and other papers in the lobby. Once we conclude our service, we ask that everyone remain in the social hall or lobby. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Awesome. All right, we have a lot of people, new people or visiting people. Oh, sorry, Vakasha, slicha, before that. Kathy, Vakasha. Yeah, no, announcement. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy, Vakasha. Yes.
It looks like it comes from her because if it looked like it came from the main office, if you guys all had questions, they would all go back to Carol, and she would immediately resign. So we want all the questions to go to Rebecca. That's why the email came from her. But I encourage you all to please go into your, if you're a member, you have a login, please go in, give us information. Like if there's rudimentary information in there, we want you to update your Hebrew names. We want you to update your professions. We want you to update, kids' information. We want you to do that. And most importantly, what we want you to do is put a picture in for the membership directory. Okay? I already put mine in. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. I'm an example here. So, pictures for the membership directory. If y'all have any questions, feel free to, talk to me.
So we're kind of trying to make like an internal Facebook, so within the Beth Meyer community, we can actually do some things together. All right, Devorah, Vakasha.
I just want to give a little more information on the postcard writing, letter writing party. For those, first of all, thank you to everyone who came out last Sunday and participated in our Standing Against Hate program. One of the things that came out of that was that people wanted concrete things to do.
Yes.
There is some legislation pending for Congress this summer that will be discussed and hopefully voted on and maybe actually signed, although who knows, that specifically deals with the situation of refugees and their status here in the United States. So one of the things we've asked you by Hyatt, as the partner on refugee issues, is to organize with letter writing or phone calling to our members of Congress. So that's what we're planning to do, and there'll be further information will come out after Shavuot about what those particular pieces of legislation are and what we're going to be asking for. There are specific asks from our Congress people. But if anytime between 10 and 2, you don't have to come at 10 until 2, obviously. Come. So the postcards will be written. All you have to do is sign them. It'll have the names of your Congress people and the people on the committees. You don't have to know any of that. All you have to do is put your name on it and your zip code so they know you're actually one of the constituents. And if you want to write something else, that's great. You don't have to. We're going to take care of all of that. We just need for people to do that. And there'll be food because, why would you want to come if there wasn't food? So please come for the friends. This is not just for Beth Meyer congregants. I'll put it out on the sort of the network that we worked with when we did the Standing Up to Hate program last Sunday. But if you know people who you think would be interested, all you got to do is be a registered voter. So please come. Thank you.
Awesome, Devorah. Yeshikoch. And the announcements? Okay. Let's do our embarrassed people at the moment. Okay, all right, if you're a visitor or relatively new or newish, we'd like to make you stand up and tell us who you are. Ellen, who's next to you over here? Who's this gentleman here? Yavakasha. Yeah, you're too embarrassed? Oh, God. Oh, sorry. All right. Yes, ma'am. You're in the back here. Yes, who are you? It's okay. Wonderful. Where are you coming from? Tampa. Awesome.
Welcome.
Welcome. We're glad to have you with us. Fantastic. If you rows in front, there's two you. Please. Yes, who are you guys?
Hi, I'm Ruth. I'm the rising senior at NC State, and I'm super glad that I was interested.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yay.
Fantastic.
Welcome.
Wonderful. I'm glad to have you with us. Fantastic. You'll meet a lot of Wolfpackers over here. Awesome. All right. I see some other people. Yes, sir, in the back there. Yes, you are. Wonderful, Alan. Wonderful. We're glad to have you with us. All right. Everybody, oh, Yvette, Vakasha, just came in. Yes. Yes.
My name is Yvette Pacilia. This is one of my sons, Samuel. We just moved into the Cary area 2 months ago from the Lake Norman area, and also looking for a home.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Welcome.
Originally
Glad
New
you're
Yorkers,
here.
but via Huntersville eventually. Yeah. We're glad to have you with us. Welcome. All right. Who else is newish? Anyone else? Yeah, the Schweigers. All right, fit. Okay.
Well done.
Well, we're glad to have you with us. Welcome. Fantastic. You're fit. All right. Is there anybody else we missed? Or anyone else want to stand up and say it now? Okay. Well, we're so glad to have everyone here. Please stay after for a nice Nash and Kiddush. And we're going to wrap up with Adon
Olam, page 211.
So.
Adon Olam, Hashem alav, b'terem bo yitzir nivra, v'yehi nasa v'chefza kol, hazay melech shelo nikra. Adon Olam, Hashem alav, b'terem bo yitzir nivra, v'yehi nasa v'chefza kol, hazay melech shelo nikra. ואחרי כתלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר עליו, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ליהי נזר וחפץ הכל, אזי לשמו נקרא. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשלו להחמירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא והמשרה. אדון עולם השם עליו, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ליהי נשא וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אלי וחי גולי, בצור חבלי ביצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם השם עליו, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ליהי נשא וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת אישה ועירה, ואם רוחי גוויעתי, אדון לי ואלוהי רע.
Please rise.
אדון עולם השם עליו, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ליהי נשא וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא.
Kim Barach Adonai, et Yom HaShabbat V'Kadsheu Savri.
לחיים.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
אמן.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Well, בבקשה, שבת שלום. חג שמח.